Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are going to present our project which is about HOSSAIN. Here are my group members. First, Shoaib, Adam Najmi bin Muhammad bin Matno, Muhammad Zulhusni bin Muhammad AZHAR, and Yusuf Abdullah MAHFUZ, and me, Maizatulhaza binti ROHANI. Okay, for introduction, this project is conducted as a proposal to overcome the problem faced by an organization which provides the car rental service in UTM HOSSAIN. We as a group had decided to propose a solution to improve the current system that had been created and used by this organization. Thus, we made some research about this organization and how their system works. As we can see, there are several parts that need improvement and development. Background study. HOSSAIN is a business company in UTM where it provides car rental service for UTM students and staffs. It serves car rental for some of the areas in Johor Bahru, Kuala Lumpur, and others. There are two types of cars provided for rental purpose, which are AZHAR and MyV. The car is categorized into two parts, which are manual and auto. This company had created a website to enhance their business method to be easier. And that is the website. Since the service is under UTM Affairs, the company had served here for several years. The owner of this company is Nabiha Binti Kamaruddin. She has about some workers under her who work as a technicians, mechanics, and manager department. According to Nabiha, the factors that usually affect her profitability comes from many sides, which are students' transportation, emergency issues, and current economic state. Due to the pandemic of COVID-19, the business of HOSSAIN is quite slow due to the control movement and non-face-to-face learning method that needed students to stay at home and do not have to return to UTM. Thus, there are less customers from students and staff to rent their cars. So the objective of this project are to first, add an online payment platform in the current system. Next, separate the part between car renting data and car returning data. Third, enable the owner to update their cars that are available to rent. Have a system that can be accessed by all of the workers of the company, and build one mobile application that eases the customer and seller. Okay, the scope for this project is the system is restricted for the customers above 19 years old with a driving license, and the car rental service are for some places in Johor Bahru, Kuala Lumpur, and Changi Airport. Thus, the thing should be included in this system is years of customers and the places that customers want to go. The thing that should not be included in this system is the blank space for customer identification number. Besides, the customer is from UTM students and UTM staff around Johor Bahru, and as this system will include online payment, then the scam potential is higher because most probably the customer will insert their account number.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is NAJMI bin Anwar. So today I'm going to present about our DFD for our HOSSAIN current system. So right now I'm going to explain about our DFD diagram 0. So for our DFD, we have two entities, which is customer and staff. And also we have 6 process, which is process 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we also have 5 data stored, which is data stored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so first thing first, the customer will need to log in to our system. And this is done in the process 1. The customer will need to insert detail and for their sign up. Sign up is for the new customer, and for the existing customer, they can just log in to the system. And then the customer details will be stored in our customer data store. Alright, this is for process 1. Then for the process 2, the customer need to insert a date for rent. So the system will produce a list of car available on the date that have been chosen by the customer. In this process, it requires car info from the car data store, which is car type, plate number, and color, so that it can produce a car list available. Alright, then for the process 3 is a car chosen approval. In this process, it will need an approval by the staff, and also this process also will require a car plate number from the process 2, which is car plate number is a primary key for the car table, and it will be used to retrieve all of the car information that be chosen by the customer. And then you also need a customer number, booking details, and order details to produce an invoice. And this process will further explain in our chat diagram. Alright, then after produce an invoice, we will forward it into process 5, which will make a payment by the customer. The customer will make a payment, and then a payment detail will be forwarded to the payment data store, and also further forward into the process 6, which is check all process status. It will verify all of the process from this previous process. So it will need a booking detail, order detail, payment detail, customer info, and also staff in charge ID. Alright. Stuff and then in this process it will produce a status for the customer, and also an order record for the staff. Alright, for the process 4, this process is to edit the current car list of the car in the HOSSAIN company, and also so this process only accessible for the manager, because only manager can alter the list of car, and also if they want to add a new car. So it requires a staff ID first to verify that the staff is a manager of just the regular staff, and then the editing a new car or deleting will be done in this process, and then we will forward a new car data into and update into the car data store. Alright, that's all for diagram 0.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Zulhusni bin Muhammad AZHAR from Group 1. My matrix number is A19EC0108. Okay. As the DFT presented by NAJMI just now, I will explain 3 of the chart diagram for process 1, 2, and 5. While the other chart diagram will be already explained by NAJMI. Okay. First, let's go to the process 1, which is the process where we accepting the new customer or existing customer. First, we will ask the customer either they are new or existing by giving them option to choose sign up or log in. As we know, after if they are existing customer, they will immediately log in to access the application, while the new customer need to fill in the sign up form, and we ask for customer name, mobile phone number, IC number, email, and also their home address. Okay, then the system will store all the data customer in their database. After that, for the second process, which is the listing of the car for the where customer can choose either one of them. Firstly, we will ask the date or the duration of the car they want to rent. So from that, we can list the available car on that day, which we check the car currently in either the car currently not in use and in good condition. If these two condition is fulfilled, the car status is available. So we will list all the car. After that, if the car chose by the customer, we will change the car availability to not available to remove the car from the available list. The data stored we will use is the sales schedule and also the car. After that, we will send the car's plate number to the other process. Now lastly, the process 5, which is the payment after the customer choose the car and also finish the other process. Okay, so the system will compute the total price for the customer to pay and will display it on the screen. After that, we will ask the customer either they want to pay through online banking also, or they can also pay by hand, which is pay to the staff directly. Then, for example, if they choose the online banking, they will access through FPS service to access online banking, and we will save their method of payment status, which is they already paid before they come to us, and also the price. While if they choose by hand payment, we will create a receipt with unpaid status, and we have a new status which is debt, and change and set the debt to yes until they paid us on the day of they take the car. So the data that we will store if they choose this way of payment, first the method of payment, the payment status, the debt status, and also the price. After that, we will send all the details into the database. Okay, after knowing the process, let's go to the process specification, which we made is the decision table. So in the first process, where we're accepting the new user and the existing customer, in this condition, they are new user and approved by staff. As you can see, there is no existing customer because they already passed this process. So if the new user and they are approved by the staff will send approval message and make new account for them to access. And if the new user are not approved by the staff, they will send the deny message and also state the reason why. Next, the process 2, which is the listing of the car and booking. So there are two conditions, which is date book on working day and also car in good condition. What it means by date book on working day is the staff is available and also for the process, and also the car is available. So there is only one way to fulfill the listing car. This is by fulfilling these two conditions. If either one or both are not fulfilled, the action of car listing will be done. Okay, that's for process 1 and process 2. Now let's go to the process 5. We see the payment. Okay, now user can choose either they want to pay online or by hand. So the actions is setting the payment status either to not paid or paid. So if they fulfill the condition of online payment, the payment status will be changed into paid because they will pay the price on that time. But if they choose to buy hand, where they need to pay through the staff directly, the payment status will be not paid. This is because the day when they take the car is only the day they can pay by hand. So if they already paid on the day that they take the car, now the payment status can be changed into paid. That's all. Process 1, process 2, and process 5 specification. Thank you. That's all from me.
Alright, so now I'm going to explain about our chart diagram, which is chart diagram for process 3. In this chart diagram, we have 3 sub-process, which is 3.1, 3.2, and 3.3. So for 3.1, which is car booking, it will require a car plate number from the process 2 that will be used to retrieve a car data from the car data store, and also it will need also a booking ID booking information from the booking data store, which is customer name and car chooser, and it will produce a raw order detail that will be used to display for the staff that later will need approval from the staff. In this process 2.2 staff approval also, it need customer details from the customer data stock. And then the data order detail and approval will forward into the record order to produce an order ID. To be stored in our order data stock. And also we produce an invoice for the process 5, which is make a payment. Alright. So next for the process, I will explain for process 4. Process 4 is manage card information. So first it will need a staff ID from the staff, because this process, the system need to verify that whether the staff is a manager of a regular staff. If it is just a regular staff, it will send a syntax error. And if the staff is a manager, it will proceed with the process. So first, process 4, it has 4 sub-process, which is 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, 4.4. And first is check current card information. The system will display a list of current card information that HOSSAIN has in their company. And then later a card detail will be forwarded into 4.2, which is if the manager want to edit their current card, which is such as edit the current car or adding a new car to the company, or delete a car, it can be done in this process. And then if the manager want to add a new car, a raw card information will be sent into the process 4.3, which is the new car entered by the manager will be validated by the system to check whether the car is in a good condition or not. So in this process, it will check for the road tax or insurance or the service and so on. If the system detects something wrong with the car, it will send a syntax error. And if the car is okay, it will proceed to the next process, which is store. The system will store the car record to the car data store. Alright, and the car detail, car data will be used for the process 2 and process 3. Alright, next for process 6. This process 6 is verifying of all process status. It will check all of status and finalizing the record. Alright, so for process 6 we have 5 sub-process, this 6.1, 6.2, 6.3, 6.4, 6.5. Alright, for the 6.1, it will verifying the latest transaction made by the customer in previous process. So it will need a payment ID, customer account name, and also it will require staff data from the customer data stock, which is customer name, mobile phone number, IC number, email, home address, and approval status. And also it will require an order ID from the order detail order data source. If the verifying if the system detect something wrong with the transaction, it will send a syntax error. It will produce a syntax error. And if the transaction is okay, it will forward the transaction detail into the process 6.2, which is finalizing the record. In the finalizing the record, it will retrieve a booking ID from the staff entity, and it also need a booking details from the booking data stock, which is customer name and car. And also it will refresh a new list of order ID and customer name into the order data stock. After finalizing the record, it will produce a raw order information, that will later forward into 6.3, which is the record order. Record order will produce an order record that will be used for process 6.4 and process 6.5, which is process 6.5 is will be displayed to the staff, and 6.4 is for the customer. 6.4 will generate a status that will later forward to the customer, the payment and order status, and 6.5 will manually reviewed by the staff to be examined by them whether the order can be used or need to cancel. If they need to cancel, we will proceed with cancel order, and if the order is okay, the system will produce a report for the staff. Alright, next is a process specification. So I'm going to explain for the process 3, 4, and 6, while process 1, 2, and 5 is explained by the Zulhusni. So process 3 has two conditions, which is availability of card chosen and approval by the staff. So for this condition, it has two rules, which is yes or no. It apply for both condition, which is first, if the availability of card chosen is yes and approval by staff also yes, the action will be, the system will proceed with booking the car and produce an invoice. And if the availability of the card chosen is yes, but the staff not approve the transaction, the booking, the action will be denying the process and send a reason to the customer. Next, for the process 4. In the process 4, we have two conditions too, which is validate manager status and also new car status. So for validate manager status, we have two, which is yes or no, and new car status is P stand for pass and N stand for not pass. So if the condition is it is a manager and it passed the car status, the action will be, the system will store the new car information. And then if it is a manager but the car is not passed, so it will send an error message to the manager. And then if the validating is not manager, it is just regular staff, and whatever outcome from the new car status, whether pass or not pass, if the user is not a manager, it will deny any further action. The regular staff cannot do anything at this process. Then for the process 6, we also have two conditions, which is verifying the transaction and the user, whether the user is staff or customer. Alright, for the verifying transaction, actually we have two rules, which is yes or no, but for this table it has been simplified. So whether it yes or no, both condition, it will produce this action. So first, if the verifying transaction is a yes or no and the user is a staff, it will finalizing the record and produce a report for the staff. And if the verifying transaction, whether yes or no, the user is a customer, it will finalize the record and generate status order for the customer. Alright, that's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. I am Yusuf Abdullah MAHFUZ. Now I am going to describe the Gantt chart that is developed for the project of our course, System Analysis and Design. So a Gantt chart is a type of bar chart that illustrates a project schedule. So while preparing the schedule for our project, we have decided to finish the whole task within 7 working weeks, and as you can see that our task is distributed among all the group members to finish within 7 weeks. So we have total 17 tasks from task A to task O. The first 2 tasks does not have any prerequisite, so we have started with those tasks first. Task A is preparing the project proposal and task B is research on company background. So after finishing both of these tasks, we have proceeded with the task C, that is propose feasible solution. And task C and task E should be started together because the next task, that is task D, conducting interview. So to conduct the interview, we need to finish both the task C and task E, that is preparing questionnaire and proposing a feasible solution. So after finishing them, we start the interview, and after finishing the interview, we proceed on for the next task, that is administer the questionnaires. And after finishing this task in week 4, we have started to generate a model sketch for our developed system. And after sketching, we proceed on logical diagram and interface design task. After finishing both of them, finalizing data structure definition is our task, and at the end of week 5, we have started to develop the database table. And next is program coding implementation. After that, the prototype testing, and finally presentation and finalizing the report. So this is how we have decided to complete our whole task.
Okay, next, regarding the information gathering, it is very important in order to proceed with our project. Firstly, we held an interview session with the most important person in HASTA, Puan Nabiha binti Kamarudin, the director of HASTA Travel and Tours. The session was held on 8th February at 10 am through Google Meet as requested by the director. We prepared a few questions, which are 3 open-ended questions, 1 closed plus prop questions, and also 5 closed questions. Overall, the questions are about HASTA's current system and their problems or inconvenience that they face. After the introduction, we asked about the current business condition. As we know, they might be affected because we are in a pandemic. After that, we also asked about their customers and the HASTA's current system. It is a long explanation, so in short, HASTA accept Singaporeans as their customer, and HASTA systems use 3 different websites or software. Each are Microsoft Excel, Niaga One, and also WADA. Um, she also provides us with a document explaining the system in detail. This is because there are also other students who had asked her the same questions. Next, after that, she also tells us that all of their documents and records are stored online. She said she wants a combined system and the system can be accessed through phone. She also hoped for an application that the customer can use. Through the interview, we also knew that she opened to a review feature from the customer, as it will help HASTA to improve and provide better customer experience. Okay, and then we finish with the interview. Next, now we go for the second way of gathering information, and this will be explained by Yusuf. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, I am Yusuf Abdullah MAHFUZ, and this time I am going to talk about questionnaire, the method that we have used to gather information. So for the questionnaire, we have prepared a Google form with some questions and tried to collect the responses from the user. In our Google form, we have several questions, almost 10 questions we have prepared and distributed the form. Now we are going to discuss the responses that we have gathered. So the first question was gender, and interestingly 70% of the people, that those who filled the Google form, were male and 30% were female, and almost 35% of the people are 20 years old, and 50% of them they knew about HOSSAIN previously, but rest they didn't know. And 70% of the people, those who have filled the Google form, they have experience to take car rental from HOSSAIN previously. So this ensures us that the people who are receiving the Google form are actually have information about HOSSAIN. And 57% people said that they have very good experience, and only 14% of people said that they have average experience using HOSSAIN service, and they have shared their recommendation about HOSSAIN, how to improve. And 66% people prefer to book online, and 33% people said that they prefer to go to the shop physically to take car rental service. And here 77% people said that they want online payment system for HOSSAIN because it is more convenient and user friendly. And finally, we have a question where we have asked that, do you prefer mobile app or website for car booking? In response, 71% of people said that they want a mobile app, and 28% people said that they want website. So finally, we have gathered all the information and administered the questionnaire and responses to get more in-depth analysis about HOSSAIN and their clients.
Okay, next is the functional requirement for this project. This functional requirement is for as-is requirement. So first is the customer recorded. In as-is requirement, the customer need to insert the customer details like name, age, and email. And then the customer will book for as the first time user, and the customer information will be stored. Next is the booking recorded, where the car details, which is where to go, there to rent, car type, day to return, is need to be included in this record. And when the customer make car booking for rent, then the booking information will be stored. Okay, next is the non-functional requirement. There are only one non-functional requirement in as-is system, which is payment. The performance of the payment is done by bank in the money or manually make a cash payment to the owner by contacting the owner via WhatsApp to get the bank account for online banking or owner's company address if they choose manual payment method. So to control this system or this functional requirement, which is payment, the payment should be done via online banking without need the customer to message the owner and wait for the reply. So the customer can pay as soon as possible after the booking, the car booking is made.
Assalamu alaikum, doctor. My name is Shoaib, and I am going to give you a brief explanation of our GUI. So, when you open our application, you are greeted with this page, and you have two options: creating a new account or you are an existing user. So, once you press the new button, you are prompted to the sign up page where you enter your login details, your name, your email address, your phone number, etc. And then once you press sign up, you are prompted to the login page. the login page, in the login page you enter your details, login details, and then you press login, and then you are greeted with a privacy and security message which you can accept or not accept, and then you press next. This is the main place where you decide when you want to rent the car, when you want to give back the car, for how long you want to take the car. You can customize all your preferences in this section, and then you press continue. After that, you are here prompted with a lot of options of cars. So you select the car you want. Let's say I want Ford Fiesta. I select that, and then I am prompted to the details menu, where you know the type of car, how far the car is away from you, what is the costing of the car, etc. And then if you want to book the car, you press book this car. Here are the rest of the details, how much is your payment, and where the car is, etc. So here we can see the car is at UTM N24, and you entered where you want to go, which is the Aeon Taman University. That's just an example. And then you press make payment, and then if you are a new user, you add in your credit card or debit card details or whatever method you want to pay, and then you press next. Once you are a recurrent user, you can choose from the payment method you prefer. Let's say I prefer my Visa card, so I press that, and then this message is shown to me that my payment has been accepted, and then from there I can find my car. Thank you, ma'am. Hope this explains to you our GUI.